Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to talk about autumn 2025 trends. I'm really excited because I've never actually done a trends video before, but I've watched quite a lot of videos on trends previously and really enjoyed them. And I think they can be really helpful because there's so much new kind of trends coming on every season that it can get really overwhelming. And I like to look at these videos and get an idea of what's coming up for the season, so I can make sure that, you know, I still look up to date, but I don't take it as gospel. So I look at it to give me an idea. If I like something that's coming into trend and it's something that I think is going to last me the seasons, not just this season, then I will probably invest in it. You know, if I don't like it, I would absolutely avoid it. It doesn't matter to me that it's a trend piece. And if I feel like I like it, but I feel like it's a trend piece just for one season, I kind of dip my toes in it. I'll probably buy like an accessory, like a bag or a pair of shoes or something like that. So I think that's really important to keep in mind when we kind of see these trend videos, because not every look that you see on the runway is kind of transferable to you and I when we're doing our daily shopping. It's just kind of adapting them to your own style and what you feel comfortable with. So can't wait to share you. Grab yourself a drink and let's get started. Now let's start strong with faux fur. And if there was one look that dominated all the runways, it was faux fur. Nearly every fashion house featured it in their shows. You know, you had Max Mara that showed these beautiful fur coats or jackets in caramels and creams, or there was Balenciaga that was showcasing these beautiful long fur coats that looked like they just stepped out of a old school Hollywood movie. It was just, they were beautiful, but obviously that's quite over the top and that doesn't kind of translate to everyday life. But the good thing about it, I think, is that it was slightly different, that it wasn't just about the big coat. You know, faux fur featured in all different types. There were short jackets, there were fur trimmed coats, there were accessories, there were these beautiful long stoles made of fur, faux fur, obviously very important, or even just accessories like a faux fur handbag. They had so many different variations that I think makes it a lot more wearable. Now, I love faux fur, and to be honest, it's not exactly a new trend. You know, faux fur tends to come out every autumn, winter, just because it is just so warm and cozy. But I think the kind of variation and the way that it's styled up is what's different, and the fact that you can wear it in loads of different accessories. I bought a beautiful long brown faux fur coat last year from Karen Millen, which I wore so much, and it's definitely going to come out of my wardrobe again this year. But I think I kind of like to also go for that. I really like that idea. Maybe not a fur stole, although I think that looks really glamorous, but something fur around my neck. I think just that kind of autumn winter cozy feeling. I just think it looks so plush and divine. And I also do think that faux fur isn't just for the evening. I know that kind of come towards Christmas time, a lot of us put faux fur jackets on, but I do think autumn, winter, when it's a bit colder, it can be definitely worn during the day, just to add faux fur over even a pair of jeans and a really casual outfit. Or I think it looks beautiful on like a long knit dress with boots and a faux fur long coat over the top. Looks just stunning. And you know, if you do find faux fur and the whole kind of look really overwhelming, my advice would be to, if you want to kind of just update your look but not go full force into the trend, then, you know, buy a key accessory, buy maybe a faux fur bag or any kind of accessory like a faux fur stole or a scarf. I think is just a really good way to wear the trend without kind of overwhelming yourself. And we've already seen that trend trickle down onto the high streets, like this gorgeous cropped fur jacket from Zara, or this lovely brown faux fur coat from H&M, or, you know, this bag from H&M. I'm sure that we're going to see so much more faux fur in the shops. And that's great because it just gives you a lot of choice, and it's not it's, you know, it is budget friendly. You can buy really expensive faux fur, but, you know, high street shops like H&M or Mango or Zara do really great versions of faux fur at a really reasonable cost. Trend number 2, and this is again going to come as no surprise, it's not exactly new, but the colour of the season is brown. Now I am so happy about this because I absolutely love brown, and if you do watch my videos and you've seen my fashion hauls, you will see how much brown I already own and buy, even over summer season. And like I said, it's not a new colour because brown along with burgundy was really big last autumn winter. So it's traditionally a kind of autumn colour. We've seen a lot of it in the shops even throughout the whole of spring and summer. But for autumn winter 2025, the colour of the season is definitely brown. It was everywhere on the runways, from gorgeous chocolate brown dresses from Stella McCartney and Michael Kors to Miu Miu's layered coffee and mocha knit. I really love this leather dress from Fendi, or this skirt suit from Max Mara just looks so beautiful. And I think that the chocolate brown colour has already cemented its place in the fashion world, with celebrities like Hailey Bieber showing how beautifully it can be worn in different outfits. And I feel like it's such a wearable neutral. I love that shift towards those kind of earthy, grounding tones. And this season there's a whole spectrum of browns out there, from deep espresso chocolates to mocha brown to caramel. It's just, you know, any gorgeous shade of brown, and which is great because it makes it so wearable. Like this top I've got today is kind of even this latte chocolate brown. This one's from Reese, but you know, we don't have to stick to that one shade of brown. I think any kind of shade of brown is going to work so well this season. And like I said, I do already wear a lot of brown clothes, but I've tended to wear them kind of mixed with other colours, or whether that's blues or whether that's, you know, creams. But I think what I am going to try, what I've seen a lot of on the runways, is like a whole outfit of tonal browns, and I think it looks so beautiful. You know, I'm thinking, you know, a long brown satin skirt with a lovely brown knit and some brown boots would just look so beautiful. Maybe even add 2 trends together and have a long fur brown coat. So any brown coat, that whole tonal look really appeals to me. I think it's so much more softer than wearing black. And I think I find in myself wearing more browns than blacks. Don't get me wrong, I do still love blacks, but I just find I'm kind of, over the last couple of years, I've been leaning more towards browns than blacks because I just feel like they suit everybody. I think that's how I'm going to kind of incorporate this trend into my everyday wear. I'm going to try to go for more all brown outfits rather than just sticking to kind of brown tops or bottoms and mix and match in them. I feel like that's going to be a really gorgeous look. And, you know, as usual, if browns, you know, having a kind of full brown outfit is too much for you, then just adapt it to your style. You know, maybe add in a brown handbag or a gorgeous brown coat as outerwear. I think there's so many ways that you can incorporate this trend. It's already been in the shops, but we're seeing more and more brown tones coming to the shops, and I love the kind of tonal brown looks from Massimo Dutti, and this bag is just so beautiful. I'm so tempted to get this bag from Massimo Dutti, or this beautiful brown dress from Reese. How lovely would that look kind of come to the party season? It's just so glamorous. I love it. Okay, so let's move on to trend number 3, and that is slouchy bags, and especially large slouchy bags. And again, this is another trend I'm really happy about. And I feel this autumn, more than kind of over the last few years, these trends are ones that I feel are really practical and easy to wear, rather than those really difficult trends that you look great on the runway but don't look so great, you know, in real life. I'm loving the slouchy bag trend. I do love a slouchy bag, as I love a structured bag, but I feel like with slouchy bags, it's so easy to just kind of put in all your belongings, you know, everything fits in, and it's just uber practical and still looks really, really chic. And I think it's so much better than the kind of previous trends we've had with micro bags. I never got into that trend because I couldn't fit even my phone into some of those bags. I just don't see the point if they're not going to be practical. Whereas this is kind of combines both that practicality but still looks effortlessly chic. I love these soft buttery totes from the Row, and I'm absolutely in love with this huge burgundy buttery soft clutch bag from Giorgio Armani. I just think that is absolutely stunning, and I really love the way that, you know, those kind of big slouchy bags are held under your arm. I think it looks so chic but a little bit edgy as well. It's just very editorial, and I just really, really love the way it looks. I also love pairing like a large slouchy bag with a more tailored outfit. So like a really nice tailored blazer but grabbing a slouchy bag to it. I think that kind of juxtaposition really works well when you've got something so structured and then you're pairing it with something that's a lot more slouchy. I think it makes it a little bit more casual but still looks smart as well. It's just a really great trend and really easy trend to wear, I think. In terms of the high street, I love this bag from Mango. I think it's really wearable in a really lovely, more kind of subtle brown tone. And this one I think I'm definitely going to get, but I absolutely love this kind of woven tote from Mint Velvet in this caramel tone. It's just, I'm so tempted to get that. And it's not that expensive. I think it's £160. So, and I know I'm going to get so much wear out of that. So I think I might have to add that one to basket after this video. I just keep looking at it. So yeah, I think that's definitely one I'm going to have to get. Right, let's move on to trend number 4, and that's knee-length skirts. I think this autumn winter knee-length skirts are definitely having a moment. Now this is one I'm not too sure about, and not because I don't like knee-length skirts, because I think they can look really, really elegant. But I have to admit, I'm real kind of a midi or maxi length skirt person. I find them so much easier to style, and I feel like because I'm petite, wearing a midi or a maxi length kind of elongates me, and I worry a little bit about a knee length skirt kind of cutting me off because I'm quite petite. And I think I need to kind of try them on and style them up in different ways and see how they look. I'm sure I could make them work because I do, like I said, I do like them, and I think especially for workwear, they can look really elegant. And I do think they look really nice with the kind of taller ladies as well. I just think, you know, it just looks really stylish and elegant. And they looked beautiful on the runways. Givenchy went with tailored knee grazers, giving a stunning silhouette with fitted jackets as well, whilst Calvin Klein styled the knee-length skirt with an oversized jacket, and Gucci opted for these leather versions in pastel colours. I feel like the way to make them more stylish and up-to-date and modern is to kind of style them in ways that you probably wouldn't have styled them before. So maybe like a knee-length skirt, you think, you know, a nice white shirt, and it's very office appropriate. But I think I'm going to look to kind of style them with more chunky knits, or maybe like an oversized blazer rather than a kind of fitted blazer, just to give that kind of, again, that contrast between really tailored and fitted and, you know, a little bit more kind of boxy. And I also think footwear is really important when it comes to knee-length skirts. I think, you know, for the daytime, maybe even trying to style them up with some knee-high boots. Maybe, I know one of the trends, which I'm not talking about today, is like slouchy buccaneer boots. And I think that might look quite nice to kind of make it more casual and up-to-date. But again, you know, for an evening look, a simple pair of pointed pumps would look gorgeous. I've even seen people on Pinterest style them with like socks and loafers, which I actually think looks really edgy and cool. Definitely not something I could get away with or I'd feel comfortable with because it's not my style. But yeah, there are options, and I think you need to be quite careful how you're going to style them depending on, you know, how you're wearing them. Are you wearing them for office wear? Are you wearing them during the day? Are you wearing them in the evening? But there are, you know, loads of kind of different variations, from tight pencil kind of skirt, knee length, to more floaty numbers. So I do think there is an option for everyone. I think it's just trying to find what suits your style. I do like these versions from COS though, especially the kind of knitted top and knee length knitted skirt. I think that's a kind of a really nice variation. Okay, trend number 5, animal print. Now, animal print is really big this season, and I'm not sure it ever went away, to be honest with you. It's not like, again, it's not a brand new trend, and leopard print still reigned kind of supreme on the runway shows. We had designers like Zimmerman using textures to add variety and interest to this timeless trend. But what's great about this season that I've noticed that it's not just leopard print. So, you know, there's a lot of zebra prints around, there's a lot of snake prints around, there's even cow patterns, kind of adding a separate twist. And for me, I have to be honest, I'm not a leopard print person. I've never been one. And I think if I was going to wear leopard print, again, I would dip my toes into it. I would wear like maybe an all black outfit with a leopard print sling back. You know, I've seen kind of on the runway clashing animal prints. And whilst that looks great on the runway, I would feel so uncomfortable wearing that myself. One print that I do think I really want to get more pieces in is snake print. I could really do snake print. Now I'm looking for a really nice pair of snake prints pointed slingbacks. I think they can add kind of interest to any outfit, and I absolutely love this snake print boots from the runways from Case. I think they just they look so elegant, and I think you could style them with so many different things. Or even like a snake print clutch back, I think would just look so nice and just add interest to what is usually quite a basic outfit. And that's my kind of style. Most of my outfits are neutral and basic, and I try to add interest to them or to make them more modern or trendy by just adding accessories. I think that's a really, really good way of doing it if you don't want to actually invest in clothing pieces for these trends. Just kind of dip your toe in the accessories, and I think that can just make what's usually a normal outfit, normal kind of everyday outfit, look so much more interesting and elevated. So let's move on to trend number 6, which is velvet. Now, if there had to be a texture for autumn, winter, I think it's velvet. To kind of bring out velvet more come Christmas. I think, you know, wearing a beautiful velvet dress for a glam event, or even like a velvet tux. I think on women, it looks so sexy and nice having like a velvet tailored jacket over a velvet pair of trousers. It's kind of that masculine and feminine look together, and I think that's such a nice alternative for kind of parties when you don't want to wear a dress. It's a shame actually that I don't wear it more often. Like I said, I tend to bring it out come kind of Christmas season, but I really would like to invest in a really nice velvet tailored jacket that I could wear come kind of autumn, winter, more casually really, like on a pair of jeans. I think it can look really nice, and maybe in a different colour. Like I'm not a big colour person, but for some reason I really like the idea of a like emerald green velvet jacket. And I also love the way that velvet looks when it catches a light. It almost kind of changes shade with movement when you're in the light. I just think it's gorgeous. I know that some people like the look of velvet, but they don't like the feel of velvet. That's not me. I don't mind the feel of velvet, but I know that a couple of my friends like the way it looks but can't kind of bear the feel of velvet, which, yeah, maybe some of you feel the same. But I think also maybe adding like a velvet blazer over a wide leg pair of trousers and a little silk camisole can look just so chic and elegant. I think there's loads of ways to wear velvet other than your kind of Christmas velvet dresses, etc. So I think that's one that I'm probably going to try in terms of buying a blazer, a velvet blazer, because I have been looking for one for a couple of years. And again, you know, the trends I've picked are not like really outrageous trends that are not wearable. I've picked the trends that I know that are wearable for most people and know that I actually would enjoy wearing. And again, if you don't want to invest in a velvet piece, then you can just add an accessory, like even a velvet hairband, just I think can really add to an outfit, or a velvet clutch can just make, you know, an otherwise quite simple outfit more elevated. So there are ways of incorporating velvet into your daily outfits that's not just kind of Christmas season related. Trend number 7, and that is the shoulder pads and structure. Balmain, Alexander McQueen and Yves Saint Laurent all brought out these big structured shoulders, but it's not like that 80s kind of dynasty feel. It feels like the silhouette is softer, and I absolutely love this trend because I feel like a structured shoulder or shoulder pad is really great in balancing out proportions. Now I know that they can be really extreme, and I don't think that's like a, you know, an everyday wearable outfit. I have seen some really extreme versions on the runways, but I think just adding a subtle shoulder pad can really help with your proportions, especially, you know, if you're a pear shaped. Having that kind of balancing act really helps to create the hourglass figure. I would say that the only body shape that it probably isn't really flattering for is an inverted triangle where you already have broad kind of shoulders. But I honestly feel like when people say they've got broad shoulders, they're probably like talking more about their arms. There's not many people that actually have quite broad shoulders. And I think, you know, even like a simple shirt, balancing out your proportion by adding a shoulder pad, you can really see the difference to your shape. It really adds that structure, and I feel it really elevates your outfit. And I think the easy way of doing this is that if you want to kind of dip your toe in that trend, it's just to buy some shoulder pads. You can get them from Amazon and just add them yourself under jacket or even under a shirt. I think, you know, will really help to kind of change the look of that outfit and balance your proportions. So I think a good tip is to kind of just invest in some shoulder pads yourself first and see how that looks on your body shape, and if that suits your body shape and you feel comfortable with it, because then after that, if you do, then it might give you a better idea if you actually want to invest in some pieces with the structured shoulders. I do really like a shoulder pad, and especially in a blazer, I think it just makes it look sharper. And I feel like it's the quickest way to add presence to an outfit, you know, just by having like a structured blazer over a pair of jeans or even over a skirt can really elevate that look. I would say if you are a petite frame, then look for narrower shoulders so it doesn't really overwhelm your shape. I think the high street stores that are really great for structured shoulder clothes are Reiss, Massimo Dutti, and a more affordable version, Zara, tends to do really great jackets, as does H&M. So my final trend piece for autumn are belts. Belts are back, and not just as a practical afterthought. Balmain showcased corset style belts over blazers, and Isabel Marant did thick leather belts with dresses. If you've seen my channel before, you know how much I love belts. I go on about them all the time, but the difference is this season is that they're not just for kind of dividing your outfits, they are actually the main piece. And these belts are so great for cinching you in at the waist and shaping oversized outerwear. I love the look of like belts cinching in a coat or a blazer worn in kind of different ways than just around, you know, your trousers or your jeans. I think it's such a great way of creating that silhouette, and almost, you know, having a belt over a blazer or a coat almost makes your outfit look runway ready. It's got this way of like elevating it and making it look really up to date and fashion conscious. I would say they really are the hero accessory of autumn 2025. And from the runways to real life, we're seeing them styled in different ways. You know, you've seen people swap them for scarves. You've seen people kind of wear more than one belt, so double belting. I think, you know, there's loads of ways to kind of bring belts in as the key piece of your outfit. And I think this was so evident more than anywhere than in the Copenhagen Fashion Week, where belts weren't just the accessory, they actually were the whole look. There was triple belting everywhere, worn around jackets with like numerous belts worn together. I'm not quite sure that I'm going to go that extreme, but I would like to invest in some more belts. I think like most of my belts are thinner, more classic belts. I quite like to maybe invest in some thicker belts that I can kind of nip in a coat when I wear it over, you know, autumn or winter, or an oversized dress so it becomes more of a statement piece, or over a blazer. I think there's so many different ways that you can wear a belt to, number one, help create proportion in your shape. So if you like oversized clothes, you know, and you don't want to look like you're drowned and it's not doing your body any favors, then kind of nipping it in with a waist not only helps with your proportions, but makes it look really stylish and up to date as well. And, you know, as I've said in many of my previous videos, there's such a great accessory for bringing the whole look together, you know, where you're wearing maybe a monochrome outfit, by having a belt to break that up, or bringing it together a handbag or shoes, like I was talking earlier about animal prints. It would be a really good way to just add a bit of kind of animal prints to your otherwise quite neutral outfit. There's so many things that I think belts are good for, so I'm so pleased that this is becoming the hero accessory of 2025. And I think in terms of the high street, obviously there's the classic belts. I always tend to go to places like Reiss or Massimo Dutti, but I think if more kind of fashion type of belts, like the thicker belts, I think I'm going to start to look more at places like Zara or H&M, because I think they kind of focus more on the fashion trends rather than the classic. And I think if I want to incorporate that trend into, especially wearing over a coat or a blazer, I think having a thicker belt might be a really good way of doing that. So guys, these were all the 8 fashion trends for autumn that I've kind of chosen to talk about. There is obviously a lot more. There's, you know, we've got like chunky bangles are still looking to be really huge this autumn winter, as is lace, which I'm really excited about, but not just pretty lace. It's kind of that edgy lace with, you know, on satin or really toughened up. But I wanted to choose 8 trends that I'm loving the most, and I think that I've seen most out there. And I really do hope that some of these have given you some inspiration. I would love to know if you are going to take any of these trends up, if you're already wearing these trends, and if not these trends, then what other trends are you loving? I would love to know. And also, if you have any tips for making those more kind of runway fashion trends more wearable for every day, then please write in the comments below, because I love reading your guys' comments. If you did enjoy this, then please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new here and you enjoy this kind of content, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel out. I'm kind of thinking about doing this more full-time now that I've made redundant from my job. So, you know, having you guys subscribe to my channel if you like the content would be really helpful for my channel. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I shall catch you in my next video. Take care, bye.